Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And the decibel's a bit down on today's show because I'm not alone in the house. But good news, a laptop is arriving today, so things will be going a lot more professionally, looking a lot more professionally on this channel very soon as we look to take this channel to new heights. So welcome to Wednesday's edition of the dceu Daily, and I've got a couple of the Batman articles to read out to you. This one is an exciting one. Robert Pattinson, the Batman opening shot is so jarring and feels unlike any other Batman movie, by Zach Schaff of Variety. Robert Pattinson guarantees comic book movie fans will know Matt Reeves' The Batman is unlike any other Batman movie ever made. As soon as they see the opening shot, Reeves' nearly 3-hour Caped Crusader epic is inspired by new Hollywood classics from the 1970s, including Taxi Driver, The Conversation, and Chinatown. Pattinson told GQ magazine that viewers will feel these inspirations from the movie's first frame. I watched a rough cut of the movie by myself, and the first shot is so jarring from any other Batman movie that it's just kind of a totally different pace. Pattinson said, "It was what Matt was saying from the first meeting I had with him. I want to do a 70s noir detective story, like The Conversation, and I kind of assumed that meant the mood board or something, the look of it, but from the first shot, it's, oh, this actually is a detective story." Pattinson continued, "I feel like an idiot because I didn't even know that Batman was the world's greatest detective. I hadn't heard that in my life before, but it really plays just because there's a lot of stuff where he's in amongst the cops. Normally when you see Batman, he arrives and beats people up, but he's having conversations and there are emotional scenes between them which I don't think have been in any of the other movies." Shooting the Batman resulted in Pattinson breaking his wrist and getting COVID. The actor told GQ that by the end of the shoot last year, he was really dead. "I just looked at a photo of myself from April and I looked green." Pattinson is joined in The Batman by Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle Catwoman, Paul Dano as Edward Nashton Riddler, Jeffrey Wright as James Gordon, John Turturro as Carmine Falcone, Peter Sarsgaard as Jill Coulson, Andy Serkis as Alfred Pennyworth, and Colin Farrell as Oswald Cobblepot Penguin. And of course, The Batman opens on March the 4th, but there is an opportunity for you to go and watch the premiere on March the 1st. Don't miss that opportunity. Check that out on warnerbrothers.pictures.com or on one of their social media accounts, because it's a great opportunity not to be missed. Now, what Robert says about the opening sequence of The Batman, yes, absolutely. Having seen this movie, there is no mistake. When you see that opening sequence, you know what you're going to get from the movie. Well, you don't, because it's so shocking in the twists and turns. But this is like no other Batman film that's ever been made before, and I think that's the unique element of this film. Everything is so fresh and so broad. I did feel like Nolan's movies were kind of similar in some elements of Tim Burton's movies. I felt the Batman's costume didn't have a dramatic change to what really we saw in Burton's costume. It was an evolution. Now, Burton's costumes for Batman were brilliant, but I'm just saying it didn't really take a dramatic turn away from that. But everything about Matt Reeves' The Batman is so unique and so different, it feels like you're opening a Batman graphic novel. And we keep on the theme of The Batman because the Hollywood Reporter report, The Batman is a true detective story, equal parts intense and sad, Robert Pattinson says. The DC film will feature a Gotham in the grips of hell, overrun with crime and despair, according to the actor, by Ryan Parker of The Hollywood Reporter. In a profile for GQ published on Tuesday, star Robert Pattinson pulled back the curtain for Matt Reeves' highly anticipated installment in the Warner Bros. DC superhero franchise. The film, due out in early March, wastes no time gripping viewers, says the actor. I watched a rough cut of the movie by myself. This is him continuing on what he said earlier on in the other article. Myself, and the first shot is so jarring, as he said earlier. So this is what he said earlier, but Pattinson goes on. Pattinson's Bruce Wayne will be different from other big screen incarnations of the by-day billionaire playboy. The actor explained, saying he's kind of a weirdo as Bruce and a weirdo as Batman, and I keep thinking there's a more nihilistic slant to it, because normally in all the other movies Bruce goes away, trains and returns to Gotham believing in himself, thinking I'm going to change things here, but in this it's a sort of implied that he's had a bit of a breakdown. So what you'll gauge from the Batman, coming from someone who's seen it, is this: it's not easy to be Batman. It's not easy to start putting this costume on. It's not going to be as easy as putting the costume on and intimidating people. There's a journey to this. That's what I love about it. The Batman will feature a Gotham in the grips of hell, overrun with crime and despair. But unlike other Batman films, the character is not hailed as a hero or the answer to prayers. The people of Gotham think that he's just another symptom of how shit everything is, Pattinson says. There is this scene where he's beating everyone up on this train platform. Where are we? Train platform. And I just love that there's a bit in the script where the guy he's saving is also just like, it's worse. You're either being mugged by some gang members or a monster comes and like fucking beats everybody up. The guy has no idea that Batman's come to save him. It just looks like this werewolf. It also sounds like Bruce Wayne will be far more damaged in the film. His emotional state clearly unhealthy, the actor revealed. All other stories say the death of his parents is why Bruce becomes Batman, but I was trying to break that down in what I thought was a real way, instead of trying to rationalise it. Pattinson told GQ he's created this intricate construction for years and years and years, which has culminated in this Batman persona, but it's not like a healthy thing that he's done, almost like a drug addiction. And here come the similarities to Kurt Cobain, and this is what Matt's done here. So when he talks about, you know, the Kurt Cobain stuff and Bruce being an addict, it's not that he's a drug addict, it's he's addicted to what he's doing, and there lies the problem. It's not healthy for him. Continued, Pattinson, there's a moment when Alfred asked Bruce what his family would think of him tarnishing the family legacy with his new side hustle, and Bruce says, this is my family legacy. If I don't do this, then there's nothing else for me. I always read that as not like there's nothing else, like I don't have a purpose, but like I'm checking out, and I think that makes it a lot sadder. Like it's a sad movie. It's kind of about him trying to find some element of hope in himself and not just the city. Normally Bruce never questions his own ability. He questions the city's ability to change. But I mean, it's kind of such an insane thing to do. The only way I can live is to dress up as a bat. Which is a great point. The Batman is due in theatres on March the 4th. So another great article that I've read for you today. Now these two articles do come from an interview in GQ magazine, so do go and check out the whole thing. But it is very important to understand, as Rob says, this is a sad movie. Yes, there's elements of humour in it, but this is a sad movie. This is a dark movie, but it's not a dark movie in terms of Zack Snyder dark movie or Christopher Nolan dark movie. But this is a dark movie in a totally different way. And so, really, it just shows you it could be any corrupt place. You know, this Gotham City could be any corrupt city. It's the world we're living in now. We're mired by corruption, you know, what COVID's done to us and all of that. And I think this is an example in life where, you know, there's one guy who stands up to be counted. It doesn't mean he's necessarily going to be loved, and we've seen that. We've seen that today. There's a lot of people standing against some of the things going on, you know, with COVID, and I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but these people are standing up and being hated for it. Look at Joe Rogan, is it? on Spotify. That's a great example where he's being attacked and mocked, and Spotify being asked to sack him. And I think it's very, very interesting when you do stand up to be counted. It's not a good place to be. People are not cheering for you. Well, some people are, but most people, want your head on a platter. And that's what being a hero is all about. That's what being Batman is all about. This guy he's going to stand up to be counted to clean the corruption of this town. But the difference is with Batman and some of these real life people who are standing up and saying maybe some of this stuff is wrong, they haven't got a mask on, no pun intended there, but this guy's actually got a mask on. Nobody knows who he is, and you need to do that. To be a hero, you need to hide your identity, because if he stands out there like Bruce Wayne, then Bruce Wayne is going to be mocked, and the people who know and love Bruce Wayne won't be safe either. Gotham City is a very dangerous city. This is what I like about the Batman. It feels like a dangerous city. It looks like if Bruce Wayne just went out there without the mask, he wouldn't last 5 minutes. The mask is his protection. But it's not just that. The persona of Batman in this film is a frightening figure for villains to deal with because of the determination Rob brought to the role of Batman. His role as Bruce Wayne is very kind of emo, if you like. It is, and that's what he said. It does come across very emo and very kind of, he looks tired. He does look like he's on drugs, and people don't say, oh, it's Playboy millionaire Bruce Wayne, because that's not who he is. People are just like treating him like a non-entity. But when he's Batman, people are standing up and taking notice, and not always in the way that you would expect, giving him adulation. Now that's something very realistic, because don't forget, this is year 2 of Matt Reeves' The Batman story. So he's missed out year 1. But year 1 will be referenced, and that's what they'll be focusing on Gotham PD. Now, I don't know if the Penguin HBO Max 7 streaming series will also focus on year 1. I assume they are looking to do some kind of Penguin origin story. So very, very interesting what they do with that. This has been the DCEU Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection, and I'll see you again tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. Till then, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.